Good evening, Free Enterprise fans and rando heads. We are here for yet another Highway to the Threemus Zone group match. This one between Footsie Bumblebee and Leggystarscream. Uh, my producer's telling me that this is actually Bahamut X versus Leggystarscream. Apologies for the confusion. Baka, what do you think about this match tonight?
I think we're going to have an exciting match. Bahamut X has been in the community for quite some time, and Leggystarscream has definitely been a new start, and we're looking to go and see just what our runner's going to give for us tonight. Showing us a Rosa start is going to be exciting, and these objectives are, I'd say they lend themselves to a fair amount of key item hunting.
Oh yeah, we have that straight up forge right out the gate, always going to be an objective in this flag set. And then our three randoms are the Queen of the Town of Monsters. You got to get underground for that. Unlock the pass door in Troya. Well, you got to find a pass for that. And trade away the pink tail. You have to find both a hook and a pink tail, conveniently enough. Do 3 of those 4, you'll get your crystal, and then on your way to Threemus. I'm sure our racers are hoping that the pass door comes into play here, gives them that nice shortcut of a walk. But yeah, just like you said, Bahamut's been in the community for a while, recently won a little off-server tourney put together by just a group of friends who really enjoy the game. And Leggy's been practicing a lot, has had some good success with Final Fantasy 1 randomizer, and has been working hard at Free Enterprise for this tourney.
Sounds like we're going to have some very fun and competitive matches tonight.
Oh yeah, so many matches. This is the first Friday night since the tournament kicked off. So lots of folks getting in their matches tonight. Tons of Free Enterprise action all over the place. And this match is going to be no exception. Looking forward to it.
Same here. Also looking forward to the Rose start because Rose is really desirable on these flag sets because a White Mage is really nice with the incentive to get so many melee fighters. With that T-Wildish, you're going to go and probably find a lot of good weapons, or at least be able to equip a good number of fighters, so Berserker strats are definitely a preferred option right now, it seems.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Rosa may not get Berserk quite as quickly as Porum does, but she's still much better for that Threemus fight, having several hundred more HP, as well as learning other spells, notably Cure 4, quite a few XP sooner. To say nothing of Holy, if you're going to let her bring some damage to the mix as well.
Oh yeah, and she's no slouch to the caster. You can definitely go and, if you don't find your melee casters, you can still go and find a good home in a reflect team, so hard to think of anyone who's... I don't think there's anyone who's going to be sad to see a Rosa start.
Oh, absolutely not. But like you said, any White Mage is good on this flag set. I'm happy with a Porum start. I'm happy with a Tellus start. May take a little to get rolling, but you just know your mid-game is going to be nice and smooth with a strong White Mage.
Oh yeah. And now we're starting, so let's see who Rose's partner is.
Well, there's Tella. Tella does cover one of Rose's big weaknesses, the fact that she only learns Exit by completing the Tower of Zod. Tella comes with it right out the box. And Tella also has that Blink spell nice and handy early on to give you extra physical defense in the overworld. But this team's not going to have a whole lot of damage output unless they find some help or certain spicy items. Where do you like to loot on this flag set, Baka? Where do you like to go if you have a Tella and a Rosa right out the gate?
I definitely like Watery Pass. Aside from the fact that there's a whole bunch of nice treasures there, we do have free characters on, so you can take a peek at the character. I like seeing who the character is, and I might leave them there if I'm thinking I need a future anchor, or it's a Cecil, and with that vanilla agility for Cecil, I like being very careful as to when I add Cecil to my party.
And we see a little divergence here. We see Leggy going right to loot Baron and peek what she'll have to deal with at the Baron Inn later. Hey, more Rosa. And a Lunar Boss. And Bahamut says, I want to round out this team. Let me go get the 2 free characters in Mysidia. And we see a Palom and an Edward. No edges here. No ninjas to really power you up at the start. But I do like that Palom. Get some Virus and Quake action pretty early. You love to see it.
Oh yeah, and that Edward, depending on how comfortable you think your opponent is with Edward's strats, can either be a great boon for you or a great sense of dread and terror, because if we get a very GD Siege, Edward is one of those characters who can go and enable some very interesting Z-Fight shenanigans.
We see 2 of our guaranteed overworld items in the Mysidia and Baron item shops, Life Pots and Star Veils, both very handy.
Definitely like seeing them, but I really hate seeing them when I don't have money, which is really easy to do. That is something I find very awkward on these flags of, I want to go to
Oh.
Mystidia to check for items, but I want to have money first for characters.
Yeah, it's so tricky to strike that balance. Avoiding double dipping, of course, saves you some time in the long run. And we see yet another Rosa. If you want an archer team, well, you're in business here.
Definitely a good team to go and have. Bahamut X leaving Rosa. I don't actively dislike this right now just because without some kind of bow and arrow, she's not going to be able to pull out a lot of damage. And coming back later when maybe you go and have Heroine Robe, or you're just going to go and grind and you can slingshot, going and taking a Rosa up to very high levels goes increases the power of that weight, so maybe you want to go and keep that in mind.
Yeah. Leggy finding some spicy treasure here by being willing to go ahead and take the Rosa. Gets a black sword, the best weapon for a Dark Knight Cecil, a dancing dagger, which gives great damage to anyone who can equip knives out the gate. And the Sylph Summon, one of the best things you can find for an early Rydia. If only she had any of those characters right now.
Agree, and I don't think Bahamut X went and got the dancing dagger, and he's the one who has the Edward and the Palm who can use that dancing dagger. Neither Teller or Rosa can, so they both have a good early damage source.
For the other one's team.
Yep.
And yeah, we did see Ruby taking a shower. He's like, I'm good. I think there's enough leg in this seat already. I'm gonna take the night off.
He's hot enough already. He just needs to cool off for now.
Oh, and a Ninja Hat and the Asura Summon. Asura Summon, very good early cash. If I already have 2 Roses, I'm not really... Hello.
Yellow, yes, that Heroine Robe might as well be an adamant armor on these flag sets. Plus 15 to all physical stats, minus 15 to all casting stats, but when you're Rosa at level 10, you're not really worried about your point magic.
Yeah, so Leggy getting tons of value by committing to the full dive of the cave. Of course, having Tella as your starter means that you can just exit out afterwards. And we found Odin, Asura, and Sylphan here. Like, every viable Rydia summon was in this cave. Again, you don't really need Asura if you have double Rosa. Odin has some edge case uses that are really fantastic, notably Calbraina dolls in nasty spots. And Sylph is just good stuff, so fantastic loot. And we did see Bahamut found a Dark Knight Cecil at the top of Damcyan Castle. If Leggy holds onto that black sword, not a bad source of overworld damage, and it's a heck of a good stat stick for that Dark Knight too.
Yeah, the worst thing is the black sword will go and speed up your Cecil, so it'll slow down the rest of your team, but if Cecil's going to go and be probably your best attacker at the moment, it's not that bad.
Well, I mean, I think the Heroine Robe keeps Rosa on par at least. She may not be able to do some good cures at that point, but they'll just be attacking so quickly. I like it.
Not unless we find a better bow, to be honest. That short bow is really, really weak. So
it is, but the arrows contribute a lot of your damage anyway. Rosa at least has the aim command to guarantee actually 255 hit rate. So if we find some Artemis arrows lying around, which I think Leggy might have, even mute arrows I'd be happy with. A lot of the rude bosses you can find do have that anti-mage weakness. So I don't know. I think there's room to see it work.
I think I definitely want to go and see a better bow. I think Leggy might be tempted to check out some shops to go and find some of those items, because you can find some decent bows and arrows in the overworld. Specifically, you can find elven bows, which that's probably my preferred shop item.
Oh yeah, the elven bow, even aside from shops, it has the highest base accuracy of any bow in the game. So the fact that you can buy it on this flag set is, superb, absolutely.
Yeah, meanwhile, we do see Bahamut X has found Leviathan at the antline spot, so not a terrible boss, but 62 damage with an Ice 2 might seem pretty weak, but when you only have 150 HP, it's actually a little scary.
Yep. Nice thing though, Bahamut X did not get a split XP enemy here. You do get the full level up here for notably your Palom down there. We'll get Ice 2 after this fight, and actually have a tier 2 spell going into whatever comes next.
Yep, as long as Palom survives, which those Ice 2s are they seem to be determined to make it a little dicey as to whether or not Palin can go and sneak through this. But Talus finishes it off, and we get through the first boss fight of the game.
Yeah, and let's see what the key item check gives us. Our opening buy-in item was just an apple, nothing too thrilling, but Antlion Cave is giving us
Oh.
spicy. So we got that T Wildish on. What does that mean for the Troya Treasury?
It means that the Troya Treasury is your one-stop shop for either a lot of amazing things or a lot of hopes and dreams for amazing things to be dashed by seeing a 3 chest and a life potion.
Well, of course, hoping for something a little better than that. We may get a chance to see a good bow. You mentioned elven bows for sale. A samurai or an Artemis bow would do wonders for this team as well. If you find a real beefy paladin sword, you may start thinking, forget vanilla agility, I'm keeping my Cecil.
Yeah, and if you find a really beefy paladin sword, you might be thinking, let me find 2 Cecils so I can go and keep one dumpstered and very low and slow, and let the other one go and be really nice and powerful.
I like my Cecils like I like my pulled pork barbecue. Low and slow, low and slow. Evil Wall up here on Hobbs with a Sid. Sid doesn't get an upgrade over Edward, but Evil Wall, I don't know. I wonder if it's worth the time investment. Evil Wall kind of eats quite a few minutes out of your life here.
Yeah, because he goes and Evil Wall is a little cheap in the sense that, like our Berserkers, he goes and just starts acting and doesn't really need to go and queue up an action. So when his turn comes up, he moves forward and then punches you. No chance to go and speak an extra action, so he's going to be throwing out a lot of actions. He's going to be eating up time, and I do agree, Sid is not necessarily... Sid is a solid early game character because he starts at 20, he goes and starts with an okay weapon, and he can use a lot of decent weapons, but he is not the best, and well, we do know that there's not a lot of amazing characters out unless there's something like an edge on our deals. Sid, I don't know if he's going to be able to carry as hard as you would really want him to.
Did note that we did see a couple of handy-dandy J items. Leggy found a Gaia drum at the end of the Watery Pass, which, if used, does Quake on all foes. Pretty strong early game spell here. And we also saw a Grimoire in the basement of Damsian, which will pop a random summon. You can high roll Bahamut, or you can low roll an Odin that just whiffs. Both are racers hoarding these items for now, and justifiably so. The team's pretty strong.
Yep, definitely something that's easy to go and say, I don't need to use it for these boss fights, though that can be something that can get you just because you'll go and say, I don't need to use it here, I can get through this, I don't need to use it here, I can get through this, I need to get down to, like, Dwarf Castle, and you're thinking, this Boreas is not going to do much damage to this, Vigan here, is it? But Hamanex going and looting and getting a few items.
Hey, that Ninja Star is really nice. We may not have an edge yet, but those things sell for a pretty penny and can really finance your early game. Just go ahead, you can buy all the life potions and cure zoos you need for pretty much one of those. But it looks like we're about to get to play Rate That Treasury, and I'm so excited.
I'm excited. The nice part of me is hoping for Artemis bows, crystal swords, and Stardust rods. The mean part of me is hoping for a lot of empty chests and a life potion.
Yeah, although we have 60% treasures on, that doesn't mean you're going to get exactly 60% in each location. It's 60% over the entirety of the game. You may have some rooms that are a little below, some that are a little higher, and they round out.
Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. Ooh, there are those Artie arrows. And the Artie bow!
Oh. Leggystarscream is going to have a good Rosa.
Yeah, this Wonder Woman palette Rosa is about to be off the rails. Plus 15 to strength and agility from the heroine robe. Plus 10 to strength. There's a plus 15 from the Artemis bow as well.
It's
I forget.
Plus 10 from Artemis bow, but
plus 10 from both. If you want to put that ninja hat on, if we don't have Vandana, that's another plus 3 to each. That is plus 28 agility and strength. Give me my Murder Rosa. Give her to me now.
Yeah, Rosa's going to go and be probably really strong on Leggystarscream's side because, yeah, plus 28. Every 8 strength gives you an attack multiplier, so you're getting at 2.5, so chance of getting up to 3. And every 16 ability is another attack multiplier, so that on its own is a guaranteed 3 to 4 attack multipliers, which is really strong when you also have an Artemis bow and Artemis arrows, when that's going to be at, what, 100 some odd attack power?
Yeah, it's real good. It's real good. The other things in that treasure, we did get the Holy Lance, great weapon for a cane, of course. Got a Cat Claw, which if you have a high-leveled Yang, will increase his damage pretty nicely. Not that great at the early game. Does sell for a lot of cash, though. And a Samurai Armor, another really good source of funding. So, Treasury didn't have anything real spicy for a Paladin, but for our Rosa, for our financing, really good Treasury. I'll give that an 8 out of 10 just for the arty combo.
Yeah, I can't go and say anything bad about that. Artemis bow, Artemis arrows, just the Artemis bow alone, I feel, is enough to make that an extremely worthwhile treasury because, as you said, plus 10 to strength and agility. It's good for Rosa, it's good for Sid, it's good on Cecil even sometimes. Granted, you don't want him in his agility anchoring situation, but then again, if you want to go and play some agility manipulation shenanigans, you can go and use that plus 10 agility on Cecil and finesse your agility into some other interesting ways. So I really like seeing that.
Yep. And Leggy over here delaying the treasury. I'm excited to see what we have here at Fabul, who the next key item is. But racers, if you are watching, do not delay a T Wildish treasury. The way the treasures are ranked, it is so good, and it can be just an utter game changer and let you tear through the entire overworld. Bahamut doesn't have that heroine robe, though, and Leggy would be able to leverage it so much more strongly.
Agreed. Like I said, I don't like heroine robe is great, but if you have a total of 30 attack power, it doesn't go and do too much. But if you got 100 or 90 attack power, you are going to be doing so much damage to these overworld bosses. And this Antlion is, well, great thing about Antlion, he can't counter things like aim, but he's not really going to be taking a lot of damage from the roses right now.
Yeah, again, it doesn't surprise me. Like, everything's kind of nicely lined up here. I fully anticipate to see a very quick dive to Troya from Leggy soon. And once so, again, the roses are going to be so fierce.
Oh yeah, it is going to be the Rosa and her lackey show.
Yeah. Another little cautionary tale, something subtle about the way the Final Fantasy IV engine works, both for our viewers and just, reminder to anyone who comes back and watches the replay. If you aim with Rosa in the middle slot, it actually overflows her accuracy. You don't get the 255, you end up getting about a 63% accuracy. That middle slot gives you a 25% bonus to accuracy, and when you're already maxed out, well, it actually reduces your damage a little bit sometimes.
Yes, that is one of the most awkward things to go and remember because, yeah, you want to go and put your best character in that middle slot for that best accuracy, except when she can already hit maximum accuracy on her own.
Yeah. So just a subtle thing, it doesn't slow Bahamut down at all, tearing through that Antlion fight. Looking to be a little ahead of Leggy here. Leggy's not gotten to the treasury yet. Bahamut has cleared it out, has cleared Hobbs. But of course, Leggy has that heroine robe and those other useful items from deep in the Watery Pass. So kind of high-fiving right now, but I'm wondering who's going to leverage their gear and characters to start accelerating further into this scene.
Oh yeah, and Fabul selling Soma drops with a Tell in your party. I really like having one of those Soma drops. There's always a nice medio. 4 weeks, however, really helpful. 2 Cure 4s and a Berserk, also really helpful.
Oh, yeah. Just, it's really impressive how much better 100 is than 90 when it comes to MP. Fu, a lot of people get him and say, oh, I can get an extra nuke. Well, Fu's not in this flag set, but just generally speaking, I get him an extra nuke if I give him this Soma drop. But you just get so much more going from 90 to 100, it seems, than you get from 190 to 200. Just because how the rounding goes off.
Yeah, and a cane. We have that White Lance. I believe Bahamut X wants this cane in his party.
Yup. That is going to. That's endgame character and weapon right there. Very nice to add. I wonder if he's going to ditch the Cecil just to be able to maintain uh, agility agnostic. And agility agnostic. Yeah, he does.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. Cecil is his holy swords are nice, but vanilla agility is really harsh to deal with. There
Yeah.
are just a lot of situations where being able to go and make your team as fast as the enemies is extremely helpful. And with Cecil in your team, you either have to dumpster him and throw a curse ring on him and keep him low level so he can't go and do all the amazing things he can, like use holy swords for obscene damage and take all the damage on the team, or you just have to give up that advantage. And yeah, I hate giving up that advantage.
I think it's still pretty reasonable if you have at least, I would say, at least an Excalibur. When I first started playing Free Enterprise, there was one person who was utterly convinced Cecil was garbage, would only take him with a lightsaber or better. Lightsaber, defense sword, Excal, crystal sword. I think with the T Wildish in play here, I think you do need to go at least Excal or better, just because your other characters are also going to get really impressive gear. Uh, and given what we know now about agility manipulation in the game, we are able to take much better advantage of cursed rings than we did back in version early 2.0. So yeah. I agree. Cecil is very tricky to manage, and I want Excalibur better for him.
Yeah, that is. I really like leaving Cecils around. Of like, I know there's Cecil here. I can just leave this alone. I'll reset out of this character check and come back another time if I find like a second Cecil, or I just find something that's so disgusting that I can't go and say no, like a crystal sword.
And Leggy does loot the treasury, gets that Artemis bow equipped, exercising a little discretion as to which arrows to pair with it, maybe looking to wait and see what enemies' weaknesses are before pairing them, maybe wanting to hold those Artemis arrows for particularly nasty fights. We only have 10 of them,
Yep.
but you can make them last, stretch a little further, Baka. How do you do that?
Well, if you go and take advantage of this thing called the Berserk glitch, where the game doesn't get to go and fully update your weapons after your characters are berserk because the turns never come up. With arrows, you don't really notice it until you get to your last one because you fire an arrow, it goes down. You fire an arrow, it goes down. You fire an arrow, it goes down. Fire your last arrow, you no longer have an arrow. But if your turn never comes up, the game never gets to go and say, hey, you no longer have that arrow. So you just kind of keep it forever.
Yeah. And the easiest way to manipulate this to make sure it works is just to have the character berserk themselves. Do it with either a Bacchus one or casting the Burst spell. If someone else does it, that's fine. You just have to be very careful their turn doesn't come back up, so to speak. And of course, if they die and get revived, well, bye-bye arrow. But otherwise, yeah, you can do a really great job of stretching one Artemis arrow into 30 or 40 if you need to.
Yeah, it is definitely something where you probably want to be careful on fights where you're expecting to go down and come up a lot, but on other fights, if you think you're just gonna go through this, like say this Octomam fight on Ordeals, yeah, I'd say just throw a Berserk out and get going.
And Leggy killed the first Baron infight so quickly, I couldn't even see who it was. Second one is Baigan, though. A little rude here. I think this well-equipped Rosa will be able to take care of business just fine. We have a full team of 5, so you can kind of battle of attrition things as well. It's a relatively slow spot. And of course, Octomammoth here at the Mylon spot. This spot has one of the lowest physical attacks in the game. That's all Octomammoth does. Bahamut X is not going to break a sweat this fight.
Yeah, but he is experiencing the rudest part of Octomam. Octomam is resistant to holy damage. Hey, would you like to guess what kind of weapons Kane has?
A fondue fork.
Alas, Kane is not that civilized.
Okay.
He's more about the knife type, so he can go and get some extra stabbing in.
Yeah. So that is a Holy Lance. It's not doing good work here, but Lightning Tooths from Palom are doing plenty of work. Cleans up the squid, and we'll see what we have next here.
I am intrigued as to why. I'm very curious as to why Bahamut X went and took that Artemis bow off for a second. Was maybe he was thinking of doing some healing, because the Artemis bow does go and take 10 points off of all of the casting stats, just like the Heron robe takes 15 off the casting stats, but you don't really need it.
Yeah, that's one possibility. Another possibility is that he does have Rose in that middle slot, and maybe she's a little too fast with equipped, and is slowing down other characters that he wants to be contributing to the damage.
Definitely fair. What isn't fair is that my Lindsay decided to go nowhere today. And by say unfair, I mean this is terribly unfair to him because the Elemental of Earth is actually a flying enemy, and flying enemies take quadruple damage from bows and spears.
To say nothing of it also having a holy weakness, but Leggy over here getting through that Baigen fight and getting the pass. That will take care of objective number 3 whenever she's ready to go to Zeromus. Of course, if you are trying to go for 10 key items to grind, can be to your advantage to go ahead and turn that in, just to make sure you get your crystal once you complete a couple of other objectives.
Indeed. That is something where I think on these objectives, you're never going to be off Earth when you get your last one, so I don't think you really need to take the time to go out of your way for it today.
Yeah, probably not. But it's just one of those, niche scenarios that always keep in mind.
Oh yeah, I had a seed today where one of my objectives was to defeat the boss on the vanilla crystal sword altar, and of course I had to go and unlock the pass door. So I got one objective down, I found my pass, I found a darkness crystal, I opened the door on Earth, I went up to the moon, I cleared the crystal altar, and rather than exiting out and coming back to Earth, I just walked down to Jeromus and introduced him to my crystal sword Cecil.
That'll do. Meanwhile, in the mirror chamber on ordeals, we find the pink till. These required key items are coming fast. Now, has either of our racers peaked the Vanilla Demus location?
Yes, Bahamut X did. He found, I believe, Karate there.
Gotcha. Well, then we know here up in the broadcast booth that our way underground must lie through the Tower of Zot. Leggy here seeming to be fading ordeals. A tricky thing when you have both a Dark Knight Cecil and a Tella on your team. That will put her behind regarding that pink tail, but will put her ahead getting underground.
That will technically, well, right, we are in no mode because once we get underground, we know that you just have to beat the Queen and summon monsters, and there is a way to Zeromus in the convenient form of that pass. There's the pink tail. Oh, excuse me, we don't have a tail. We don't have a hook to turn this in. If this turns out to be the hook, then we're in no mode. If this turns out to be the magnet key, we're back to hunting.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting about that hook actually being required to turn in the pink tail. An easily rude thing to go and overlook. Because, hey, I got the pink tail, that's one of my objectives, and now I just need to turn it. I can't go and move my hovercraft.
Leggy over here showing you cannot pet the dog in Free Enterprise.
Blizzard would be very proud of Final Fantasy IV's response to petting dogs.
And that board face AI, seeing Palom with an Ice 2 queued up, I don't think so, kid. Kaplah!
Look, he just wants to make sure that Palom has the Ice Stay instead.
Anyway, not hard to tear down when you have this kind of equipped team going for you.
Yep, that top robe, the black robe is it's not the worst thing it was previously because it has been changed in the most current version to give this wisdom instead of the willpower stat that was incorrectly given in previous versions. So, not a bad pickup. Not what you want from a trap chest, but not a bad pickup.
Pretty sure that, you look at the Gaia gear and you think, oh, mage gear, but I actually think that the Black Belt Gi has better magic defense and physical defense both, including some stat boosts there. Gaia gear, very deceitful. Only the hat is really decent for you. It does give you a stat boost it's a stat hat for your black mage. But Gaia gear, the armor, blah, throw it out. It's stinky.
I think the only beneficial thing it does is give gradual petrification resistance.
Oh, baby. Gradual petrification resistance?
Oh, yeah. For the times when you're getting all the counters from Evil Wall, or you're going and fighting Valvalis and she's thrown out 15 rays.
That's a lot of rays.
I mean, what can you say? Valvalis likes to raise the roof.
You know that song, Ellie Goulding, you know the lights that stop me turn to stone? That's actually about Valvalis. Not everyone knows that, but it's true.
And then spreading the deep lore.
Yep.
We are finding Bahamut in the Mega Sisters spot. I believe he is in the wrong group for that.
Leggy versus Bahamut? What? Oh yeah, that's what we came here for. So this spot, well, Bahamut's script pretty simple. Take 5 turns, Mega Nuke. You can really kind of a free boss if Starveils are readily available, which they are on this flag set. You pop them, you reflect the Mega Nuke, you wait and you do it again. Or if you just can dish out the damage, well, why even bother?
Yep, I see that Leggy does have a good number of Starveils. Leggy has 12 Starveils. That is a lot of Starveils. I am really cheap and only buy a handful because the starter kit that we have, which is a addition that we first saw in the Fool Gauntlet, gives you a few Starveils to kickstart you, so you can go and do a few more of these checks without exploring every single item shop until you find them.
Yeah, but sometimes you have a bad experience with a Wyvern, and you're like, nope, stock me up. Because theoretically, what all do Starveils let you do? They let you trivialize Bahamut. They let you survive Wyvern. They let you double reflect to get Asura set up to keep healing your team instead of her. Golbez, they're kind of the dream. I'm sure there's some other fights. Oh, I love them to do reflect strats versus even Ogopogo. So if you can afford them, nothing wrong with it. But also, if you think you have the damage to just win outright, I see hoarding them for a good reason there too.
Yeah, and I think some of our favorite ones is to go and use the walls against a D-Lunar fight to turn them into wee little toadies.
Little undead Dracolich frogs. I wish that were technically a throwback to the Japanese Final Fantasy II, where if you reflect the toad spell, you insta-kill the final boss. Turn it frog. So Final Fantasy II, the original one for the Famicom, has 8 different insta-deaths, and frog is one of them. You turn an enemy into a frog, it goes away, but it doesn't check its version of the boss bit if it's reflected, apparently. There may be a little more to the setup than that, but still, that's what those frogs remind me of.
I just pretend that it's because it's not so much the enemy is gone and dead, it's because you can no longer find it, so you just declare yourself the victor.
We do see Asura taking the place of Golbez here in the Tower of Zot. That means she will be in the second location at Dwarf Castle.
Sounds like a great thing to remember mute arrows for.
Well, I mean, 3,000 HP, I don't think it's going to be much of an issue anyway.
You're very right about that, but mute arrows makes it even less of an issue. Also, we're finding a Sid and a Yang here. I don't know if either of them are going to be added to this party. Yang, I can see some going in getting dumping Cecil. I can't disagree with that because we haven't seen anything amazing for Cecil, and losing that Manila agility is bad. Losing the Tella, however...
I completely disapprove. I am well known as a serious Tella stan, so that's why I'm being a butt here. Y'all know me. Y'all know me. I love my Tella life. I have been vouching for this utility knife of a character for over 2 years now. But honestly, the real bad thing for Leggy here is this basically says, I am never going to Ordeals. And we know that's where the pink tail is. So that's the real concern here from the bird's eye view.
Yes, I agree. Not having those characters who get much more helpful after Ordeals. And fading Ordeals is not going to go and be a great play today, as Bahamut X is now climbing up that Tower of Zot, as they have exhausted all of the other overworld checks. They know that their way underground is here.
Tella, you don't deserve it. I'm sorry. Just like in vanilla, you're getting ditched in Zot. Is this even randomized?
Well, we're not finding Valvalis here, instead we're finding a good doctor, so I guess it is somewhat random.
Kind of nice, though, to get that Sid added to the party right here. The base wooden hammer will do quadruple damage versus machine-type enemies. Here, Balnob and then Luge Z. both count as robots for those purposes.
Yes. And Thunderclaws will also do quadruple damage, but not the Thunder spells, I believe, because it's a robot racial weakness, which is what the Hammer and the Thunderclaw exploit, not thunder damage itself.
Exactly. Subtle differences between elemental and racial weaknesses.
And knowing that you can stack both of them is something rather amusing. Which is why if you ever go and hit an undead enemy with a crystal sword, you're always doing pretty much 10,000 damage.
Yeah.
Crystal sword, unlike the Excalibur, ironically enough, is both holy and strong against undead racial enemies.
Well, zombies, not spirits, I think.
Oh, right.
Zombies. Yeah, it's kind of funny. They do zombies and spirits differently in this game. The little ghost-type enemies are all spirits, and of course, Mylon Z and his thriller dancers, zombie types. I'm going to check though, because there are some weapons that are.
I know.
Okay, yeah, it's just armor. Yeah. The ancient sword and the silver sword give you bonus damage versus spirits.
Yes, and I believe the silver knife does as well.
Yeah.
And the silver hammer.
And the silver staff, if you really want to get weird with it.
If you're really that desperate for going and beating up the ghost on the ordeals. Ooh, Bahamut X speaking of white.
I had it backwards. For some reason, the silver staff is the only silver weapon that is anti-zombie instead of anti-spirit.
Okay, now that's funny.
I know! It makes no sense! And the only anti-reptile weapon in the game is the Ice Rod. I guess it's like if you equip it on Rydia and Watery Pass and Vanilla, now she can just utterly beat the heck out of alligators and crocodiles.
Apparently. Though I do believe the ice armor is anti-reptile, so that would use in bonus defense since all the reptiles you face in, what is it, Nagas, I think, are the only things that would qualify at that point.
Oh, that's wild.
Niche strats. Who wants them? And we do have a hook from Tower of Zot.
Oh!
And Leggystarscream is... Leggy is dropping off her hovercraft and going somewhere else. Maybe she's going to go and check ordeals because she might go and look at that path and think, I really don't want to do that. Ordeals bail me out.
Yeah, one can only hope. But stopping here in Agert, it definitely, I don't know. I'm scared, Baka. Hold me.
I'm holding my breath. I can't hold you two. I'm sorry.
I can only hold one thing at a time. Okay.
Look,
anyway.
I'm descended from an adventure game protagonist. I don't know how to hold multiple things at once. I'm sorry.
Bahamut X taking care of his draconic brethren, although not actually a dragon. Either way, it's cleared that first fight here. Leggy, I'm hoping for her sake we see a run up ordeals. If this is just a shopping junket, then that rat tail will... I mean, maybe you get like a legend and adamant from Baymark's chest in Sheila 1 or something? I don't know.
Yeah, it would be something like... Or like a pan from Baymarch and adamant and legend from the Sheila Turnins. Or you go into Dwarf Castle and Warplich. Leggystarscream has to go and be careful, and yes, Leggy is... Looks like Leggy is preparing to go and do an Eblin dive. She is going into Eblin Castle, I'm guessing, to go and see if she can find some nice gear. And meanwhile, Bahamut X is going and making his way up to the tower, is going to be finding that hook soon, and will be in a position to complete objective number 4.
Absolutely. Let's see, finding an Ogre Axe here, one of my favorite pieces of gear for Sid, Cecil, or Kane, especially once we upgrade to the Pro flag sets. I don't mean pro as in this is an amateur flag set. We have amazing racers. I mean, literally, the treasure and shopping settings are called pro. It's the name of the flag.
We'd like to go and have treasure weights, and we like to go and, I like Wildish because it's not quite wild, but it's definitely really wild, and Pro is really not so wild. Pro, you will be excited for... Sometimes you'll be excited for a wind spear, because, hey, it's still better than my normal spear.
I'm very thankful to Bahamut X for not taking that particularly sillily named Sid. The algorithm did not do that one well, and I didn't want to have to say that name all game. We'll say it was Tidy. It was Tidy. Goodbye, Tidy.
That makes sense.
Oh, silly names. What are you doing?
Going and getting us into awkward situations when we don't want them to. And here Bahama X is getting ready to go and take out Dr. Luge, is going and zerking out the middle Rosa, and is going to go absolutely to town on these poor doctors and or robots.
You know, just like OK Go says, you throw on your clothes the second side of Zerker Rosa, and you leave me with my jaw on the floor. There she goes, there she goes, there she goes again. Oh, please don't copyright strike us.
I believe you have to sing on key for that.
Oh, good. All right.
Also,
as long as I don't have to do a complicated dance routine on treadmills.
I think that's for the YouTube strike. Well, actually, no, the YouTube strike is just only hitting 3 notes of it, so maybe we're in trouble.
Hey, do you like Artemis bows? Well, wait, there's more.
You know, I'm not going to say no to a second Artemis bow, especially when you have that Sid. Artemis bow is probably Sid's best overall weapon for the end game.
That's true. Well, depending on what arrows you pair with it.
True. Still, the plus 10 to strength and plus 10 to agility is really good for Sid, because that can get him another 1 to 2, maybe 3 attack multipliers. Another Cat Claw is something that...
Double Cat Claw, all the way across the Yang. What does it mean?
It means that we might want to go and check to see if Yang's a robot and is holding a bunch of other agility increasing gear.
No. We cat claws are actually just he literally straps a cat to each hand, and it's the most dangerous weapon.
But now we do have a he is out of Edlin Castle, is fully looted, done her looting there, is now heading down the hook path. While Bahamut X is going to be able to go and find another piece of treasure in the form of that pink Del turn-in, because we have no adamants turned on. There will be no adamant armors appearing in the seed. Well, we're just mean. So we're going to see what we get from this. What are your bets that we're going to go and get a crystal sword?
Spicy Evelyn shot, by the way, selling those hourglasses. Hey, do you want to fight more trap chests? Here, they're free for the rest of the game. Offer not valid against dragons. Yo, Bahamut X, we heard you like Bahamut, so we had you fight Bahamut, and then we're giving you a Bahamut so you can have Bahamut with your Bahamut.
It sounds like he's, we've got a Bahamut on screen now.
Are you saying I should stop just dragging this out?
I can let you go and
Gotcha! Beat you to that one, Vaca.
Oh, you're feeling really hot about that, aren't you?
Oh, so spicy.
Gotta be careful of those flare-ups now.
And I will note, if our tracker is listening, let's get that number 4 lit up for Bahamut X. About 40 minutes in, we do get our first objective complete. Of course, that number 3 is hanging for both characters. They've got that pass, can turn it in anytime they feel like it. So right now, though, for Bahamut X, a lot of this is going to come down to who the fights are to get underground, and then who that fight is at the Queen spot in Feymarch.
Agreed. And then there's also another question. Will Sirens be around for grinding? Because without Sirens, it's going to be very difficult to go and grind on Earth. There may be an edge in this cave, which will go and allow us to just steal Sirens in the Tower of Babel. But if we don't have that and there's no Sirens for sale, we may be in for a rather interesting conundrum of how do these runners go and grind?
Yeah, you may just have to keep trying to find the Darkness Crystal and gain access to the Moon and the Giant of Babel. They're both great random encounters on the Moon. There are manipulations that you can do to get into really good fights in the Giant of Babel that'll give you your XP. Of course, you know, like you said, if there is an edge at in the next room of this cave, if there's an edge at Dwarf Castle, both are perfectly valid options for getting your Siren game going on. Lots of ways to get our levels to finish off this seed.
Yeah, it is definitely going to be. I think the harshest thing about this is if sirens are for sale, how are runners going to afford that many? Because they're going to want a lot. They're not going to be very close at all to 10 key items, so they're going to need a lot. And
I think both our racers have more than enough gear. It's just an issue of making that commitment to your team. Right now, I'm looking at both their inventories. I see a lot of stuff being like saved for a rainy day. But I think that once I know this is my team, it's who I'm taking to Threemus, I can ditch this other stuff. And I think they'll be able to afford what they need at that point. Or you just loot more. It's T Wildish. You'll find something.
Fair enough. And speaking of fair, we see a cane, and Leggystarscream fairly says goodbye. Only one white spear. The Ogre Axe could be good on Kane. Might be better than Sid, but Sid does go and start at a higher level and has more HP, so maybe Leggy's thinking, I would rather just keep my character who's going to be able to contribute more immediately.
Yeah, and if you do decide you want your roses to be spellcasting at the end, flipping that Artie bow over to Sid, perfectly good choice.
Especially for our runners who both found a white shirt in the trap chest in Eblin. That's going to be very nice for that Rosa.
Yeah, plus 15 to the wisdom stat, or pardon me, willpower stat, the white mage spell stat, and really great magic defense and evade. It's pretty spicy.
And it gives protection against undead and spirits, because why wouldn't it?
Oh yeah. Shame we already dealt with Mylon Z. That is one of my favorite things to do with, like, you run into Mylon Z at the Asura Leviathan spot in Feymarch, and even though you're only, like, low 20s, if you just have, wizard hats, white shirts, a certain pieces of paladin gear, you're taking, like, 10 damage a pop anyway. No problem there.
Oh yeah, it's always good to exploit those racial weaknesses. Oh my. Let's see how well Leggystarscream deals with this Kanazo that's here. Only 6,000 HP, so the waves are not going to be very rude, but the punches are.
Yeah, the waves will open up doing about 240 damage a pop. Not too much to worry about. You just don't want to be dispelling that wave. I mean, the watery barrier. The punches here, so severe.
Oh yeah. Neither of the runners taking the second cane. Really can't go and disagree with them, though. I am a bigger fan of Kane than Sid, just because I find Sid to go and Sid tops out a lot more quickly than other characters. I don't find him to go and last into the late game very well, but he does do a good job during early games, and I can't disagree that this party might need a bit of extra carrying right now.
Oh yeah, both are perfectly fine choices here. Anyway, Knot's over here gathering water. We've already dealt out quite a bit of damage on Leggy's side. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how much this next wave does, because I think it's going to be fairly negligible.
I think we're going to go and see some pretty tepid waves here. Well, we're getting a wave. It hasn't gone to the shell form yet, but 90 damage that's something that's pretty manageable.
Oh yeah. But Leggy is opting to disperse the watery barrier. Well, it doesn't matter. That was enough damage to make it hide inside the shell. Not a whole lot left here, but you definitely want to try to kill it before it starts bringing out remedies, or you just get into a real annoying battle of attrition.
Yeah, those remedies will do 10% of his total health. It's going to be healing for 600 each time, and we see Rosa try and cast Berserk and miss because, well, if you go and have a Heroine Robe and an Artemis Bow on a character, that's minus 25 to their Wisdom stat, and Berserk is not guaranteed to hit. It has a chance to miss. Your willpower will go and augment that and increase it, but minus 25 is a pretty hard thing to come over.
Yeah. Rosa living her best Tella life.
Ironic, considering Leggystarscream abandoned Tella and still got Tella life.
Now for this fight, we did see those hourglasses for sale back in the Eblin shop. It's not a very threatening fight, but if you want to pop one of those, these enemies are done. Stick a fork in them.
Yep. Honestly, I think the worst thing for Leggy here is the fact that she didn't keep Tella, who has weak, stone, two different ways to deal with these enemies without having to go and just go through all that damage. Yes, the stop is going to go and make them safe, but after the soldiers go away, the officer is still going to be frozen in time, waiting to go and run away. So you either have to get through all of that HP or wait for enough turns for stop out for the officers to then be able to run away.
It's kind of an interesting dilemma here, because you have mentioned what do we do if we don't find sirens underground, and this is actually a really good spot to get some extra XP. And this poor officer has been muted, or he's been silenced, charmed, and put to sleep. All these different characters using different status ailments on it. Oh, and it's just frozen in time. He's not living his best life.
I mean, I feel like this is one of those things where he's just stopped so hard, he doesn't really even feel anything anymore. He's just waiting for it to all hit him at once. And when it does hit him all at once, he's not really going to feel really great about it. But it's so fast, he won't have much time to go and feel too bad about it.
So basically, Leggy's doing her best Dio impression and just going full Zawarudo.
I'm amused at the fact that I have never seen that anime, and yeah, I know exactly which one it is.
Hey, me neither. I am just I am an encyclopedia of pop culture. Does that count as pop culture?
It counts as meme culture, if nothing else.
Okay, good. Look, I got friends who watch this stuff. You hear things. It goes through the grapevine.
And we do see that Leggy's
Ooh, I saw a spicy option to conclude this fight.
Oh?
So we know the officer is frozen at a, well, it's dead. But the officer was frozen at a point in its ATB where every status implement effect was working. There's a stack of Medusa arrows in that inventory.
Oh,
that would have been a
good point.
That would have been a very cheeky one-shot kill. No matter though, cleans up very nicely. No threat here. But just discussing those options, we'll see if Bahamut puts that Tella to good use here. Use stone or weak or either of those to get the officers 17,000 HP trivialized.
Yes, I am not a big fan of fighting fairly, and speaking of fighting unfairly, Leggystarscream is going and peeking the tower, the boss on top of Lower Babel, and finds some Threemus there, so bonus check if you want it.
Highway to the Threemus zone. Wait, wrong tournament.
That said, Leggy's still a bit behind the 8-ball without having done ordeals, just because that's where the pink tail is. Any checks she does will be in the hopes of getting both the Adamant and the Legend Sword at this point.
Yeah, having dished both the Tella and the Cecil really speaks to that. That's saying, hey, look, there's no Fu in the seed. I don't need those 3 bosses. And now I know that D-Mist isn't hiding up there. I don't have to go there hunting for D-Mist. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, that is... It is always a gamble to go and skip a check. It is something where you're going to go and be skipping a check at some point. You're either going to be behind because you've gone and done ordeals like Bahamut is, or you're going to go and miss ordeals like Leggy has, and this time it happens to have one of your objectives there.
Yeah. And our job dwarf today is a hand sewer. Gross. Oh, the producers are telling me that's hand sewer. Hand sewer. Okay, sorry.
The producers seem to be working overtime today.
Look, you could have just said you're a tailor. That would have... Why... I wonder, is there a difference between a hand sewer and a tailor, technically?
I'm not certain. That is something that I am curious about, because hand sewer, maybe that's someone who just goes and does very specific stitch. Well, there's sirens, so there's a grind option.
Well, that problem solved.
All these worst case scenarios we were trying to wish on these runners, and no.
Bahamut, meanwhile, through to the underground, just a little bit behind Leggy, but of course has completed ordeals, has turned in the pink tail, is kind of in the home stretch here.
not peeking the top of Tower Boss, but I don't think they really need to because they go to Dwarf Castle, they find those sirens, they have a grind, and at worst you go and do Dwarf Castle to pick up another character, but I don't think Bahamut X has a bad team. I believe he has Yang, Pain, Rosa, Tella, and Sid?
I think Palom.
Palom, okay, yes, that makes sense.
I'm not positive though. But yeah, fantastic, well-balanced team for the Threemus fight. Knows where the target is. Main thing I'm wondering is if he hunts for sirens to grind first or goes ahead and sees who it is. If this is King Queen Evelyn, if it's Water Hag, you're in business.
Yeah, I agree. This is it does stink to go and do this walk twice, but if you're just gonna go and scramble some eggs, well, it's not the worst thing to go and be at 1 HP if you can reliably kill that egg without any issues, and Telecasting Stone does that.
Also, we mentioned with the Artemis arrows how if you auto-zerk, you're not going to run out of them. Magma Key, that's cute. But also, if you're just the first character acting each combat and you one-shot, you also will not lose that last arrow. So, lots of ways to do it.
Yeah, if you can end the fight before your turn comes up again, that's definitely a way to go and preserve an arrow as well. I've actually went and got the advantage on my grind on someone just because I found a stack of Artemis arrows and they had to awkwardly find a way to kill these eggs with 5 forums. And long story short, being able to one-shot an egg and do that about 35 times really helps when you need to fight Threemus. And that is a Rubicon. Or an Elements, because I don't believe... Oh no, that is Elements. We saw Rubicon taking a shower today.
And Kawaii Dragoness, those flags were from the most recent Dragon Warrior Rando that was exhibited here on Random Mania. They have a tournament ongoing as well. If you give me a moment, I will link you the correct flags for this race in the chat. There you go. The feats don't have anything to do with that, Mechalink. But that is Elements because we already fought Rubicante. Well, we didn't fight him. Rubicante's taking a shower in the lake waterfall today.
Yep, so... And Bahamut X does not have Palom, so... An all-melee team, that is actually kind of rude. I feel like you can do this fight, but you're going to be doing it a lot faster after you take your levels, and you're not going to be getting to 10 key items, so... Oh, we're going to go and fight Bahamut.
Oh, nope.
Oh, nope.
No, we're not.
Nope.
That's... Oh, wait! Which one's the queen?
Some of us may have been traumatized by the fact that we never figured out the proper way of fighting Asura, and would always be really hard stuck getting through Asura and then go and blow through Leviathan, so I remember exactly which fight is which in every situation because I would always have to take that awkward step over to the side to say, yes, I would like to fight you again after you've shown me into pace for the 40th time.
Yeah. It is kind of funny, though. I did redo the vanilla, well, relatively vanilla Asura fight, playing the that fan mod, FFC2, that puts the Final Fantasy II Famicom in Final Fantasy IV, and did not have a source of Reflect. Just used our free enterprise knowledge of life locking and anti-mage type weaponry to win without it. So it's kind of fun to revisit, you know, kind of the vanilla-ish game, but with the knowledge that we've gained over the last couple of years of being in the free enterprise community. Real fun.
Yeah, it feels really unfair to the vanilla game to go back and play it sometimes, just because, yeah, now I understand a lot of things about this game, and I know ways to go make it much easier.
And speaking of hard or easy, the Elements fight here not cooperating with Bahamut X at all. Blink will help you against the first form here, the Mylon Z form. Once it becomes Rubicante, though, the Asura Spot has real high magic attack. We will see some real nasty group Fire 2s, Fire 3s, and Glares coming out. And you were right, by the way. There is no Palom on this team. That is a Sid. So Reflect strats to try to bypass the second half of the fight, also tricky. Fire 3 from Tello will do pretty good work, but I think the best solution for Bahamut X here is probably just go hunt down those Sirens and get the levels to make this fight trivial.
Yes, that is something, doing another thing that we've done in the past, we had the interesting Router's Relish showcase. Going and doing that and having to go and defeat a Threemus at this spot, I greatly appreciate the just raw power of going, getting a lot of levels on your characters, and then doing the important fights, because, yes, you'll get some experience from the fight, and it does seem faster to go and save time walking up and down, but you really go and just, you don't have to deal with so many awkward situations with just having power overwhelming. That said, 7,000 damage on a Fire 3, nothing to sneeze at. Only 2, maybe 3 more of those.
Yeah,
and,
I think. Well, the issue is whether or not you reflect it. If we do a direct one here, there's a chance we get the kill, but there's also a chance we get into the Ruby form and things get real, real nasty. I do like the life potions here for attrition. Give that Mylon Z form more things to punch.
Yes, I don't want to go and be mean to Bahamut X, but J-Anims are sometimes inconsistent. Sometimes they go and bypass the wall when you use them. Illusions do not.
Yeah, like Bacchus Wine will go through walls. Illusions don't. Who designed this?
Someone who doesn't like consistency. Someone who likes to go and make everyone learn by trial and error, apparently. Oh, and that's really harsh. The wall fell off on Jan. So even though he survived, he didn't have a wall up and needed to go and... Ow. Poor Jan.
Meanwhile, Leggy's over here, knocking down Dwarf Castle. Only saw an Edward in the character spot, sad to see. But my question here is, does that Palom have enough levels to know the Warp spell? The Warp Glitch flag is enabled, and that is one of the big advantages that Rydia and Tella have over Palom. Palom gets warped very, very late.
Yeah, I think Palom gets warped around level 28 or 29, which is... Sometimes they go, and if I find Sirens, I'll go and grind up to that level for Dwarf Castle, not because I'm afraid of anything, but because I really don't want to do Sealed Gate.
Bahamut seems to have this fight together pretty nicely, doing a really good battle of attrition here, keeping the team up with live potions, trying to get back around to get another reflected spell off with Tella.
And, oh, Mylon...
Oh, but Mylon going ham here. If you don't have those blinks up, ooh.
Mylon heard you and said, I'm sorry, did you say control? I will take control of this fight.
Yeah, Mylon taking no prisoners there.
Mylon can be really mean, it seems. And yeah, that's going to be another punt. Yeah, that's a reset. That is something. It may be battle speed. Lowering battle speed would help because you don't lose your turns. Exiting, grinding, I agree with that because heck, doing that fight right now.
Yeah, because the thing is that. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say you can get real powerful, come back with a Rosa who knows white and has a white shirt on, and introduce Mylon Z to true pain.
There's also the fact that you are not going to be hitting 10 key items this flag set, so there's no reason not to go ahead and grind. Oh, we did have Warp on our kid, and congrats. You can now sell an Excalibur.
Hey, now let's be fair, maybe there's an edge in the seed somewhere who can go and throw it.
That's true, that's true. But if you want to buy another stack of Sirens, that will fund your shopping trip.
Oh yeah, you will need a lot of them to go and scramble a lot of eggs. But scrambling a lot of eggs is going to let you kill that Elements fight and Threemus, so sounds worthwhile to me.
Yeah. The package, of course, well, we know where Demist is already, but it is another character check if you are really wanting to readjust here. I do like seeing further grinding. Just get yourself set up. We'll probably see her go for that Queen at the Town of Monsters next. It is an objective, and of course, in Leggy's head is, if the pink tail's there, boom, I'm in go mode. Of course, we know where that pink tail is, but maybe Legend Sword, maybe then Adamant at Sheila 1. Lots of ways here for Leggy to get back in this. And Bahamut looking a little stymied
Yeah.
by that Elements fight, going elsewhere and not just looking for Sirens. So
Yeah. Have they gone to Dwarf Castle? I think they've avoided that, which is, I believe that's where Leggy found the Sirens, and that's what Bahamut needs right now. Bahamut just needs the Sirens to go take a bunch of experience, get nice and powerful, pulverize that Elements fight, and complete that objective.
yeah, but this is great news for Leggy. This has given her time. She's been grinding. She has these extra levels. That's what she did beforehand. She got warped. And we have a vanilla Pan sending Bahamut on even more of a little bit of a goose chase here. We'll see what Leggy gets from this fight, if she can clear it out. And this is really the chance she needed. With that pink tail on Ordeal's, Bahamut's kind of punted here and given Leggy a great chance to get back in it. We were so worried with that pink tail skip, but let's see if she can get this Elements fight first try and really get back in this fight.
Yeah, that is definitely something you want to go and Leggy can go and catch things up on this Elements fight. She's going to go and have a nice advantage for Bahamut X, who may be just simply deciding to try and skip this fight, or maybe trying to find a Darkness Crystal so he can grind and come back so he doesn't have to use eggs. Definitely agreed. Giving time to Leggy to come in, reassert herself in the race, take on the Elements fight, and when she has that, she'll still need to go and either find the pink tail on Ordeals or find the Adamant and Legend wherever they're scattered. But that can go and be a big thing for Leggy today.
Most important thing right out the gate, we see that Leggy's team can survive at least one punch from this fight.
Yeah, and Hallam has Fire 3. Hallam does have better stats for casting, so Hallam's probably going to be going and hitting quad 9s on this. I think it will only take 2 casts from Hallam to finish this off.
Oh yeah, and with the defense on these roses, things are looking very cleanly set up here for Leggy.
And chat pointing out, Sylphs was the Adamant.
Ooh.
So,
a Legend Sword here at Elements, at Asura, completely undoes all the worries of that Ordeal skip. This is a race, y'all.
Yeah, this is a race. As long as Leggy does Sheila 1, which she's done Dwarf Castle already, unless she gets sidetracked by that Threemus she saw on top of the tower.
That is a temptation.
Yeah, that's a real good temptation, to be honest.
Oh my god! Okay, never mind. It's back in Bahamut's court, because you don't have to fight this fight. Do you want to forge a crystal? Just go talk to Sheila. Just talk to Sheila.
I would like to go and do a statistical analysis of the odds of that happening, because holy wow, that is a Hail Mary and a half.
So, like you said, as long as Leggy doesn't get distracted by the D-Mist, in decent shape here. Leggy already has a huge level advantage on Bahamut X. And boom, there is objective 2 complete for Leggystarscream.
Yeah, this race comes from the spoon. That is definitely a thing to find.
It is a key item. Let's see here. So Bahamut's going to be at 3, 6, 8, 9 key items after getting the crystal. And that means Leggy will also... Well, Leggy has the package. 3, 6, 7, 8... Oh, also only going to be at 9. Ah, well.
Let's see. Leggy's currently at... Alright, she won't go and have the pink tail that Bahamut has.
Yeah. So the question is, how fast can you grind?
And...
Oh no, Leggy, don't go... Leggy maybe... I think Leggy's going for this other fight down here. We saw a heal and a save. Yeah. Going for the King of Fey March. Which I believe this is Mylon and friends. It's going to be kind of a slow fight, not too threatening. A 10th key item here, though, will help immensely.
10th key item would make up for doing it, but...
I left out Pan. Penguinator has corrected our count. Leggy gets to 10 key items, but if she gets distracted by that D-Mist, or if this fight gives a rabbit hole.
That's fair. Yeah, right. Bahamut doesn't get to 10 key items because he's not going to get the spoon.
Bahamut just hunting down those Sirens now, hoping for a quick and easy grind. Really does not want to have to try to find a Darkness Crystal to unlock one, and he won't have to.
Yeah, that's I wonder if Bahamut's feeling a little annoyed after carrying around that Tella for the whole seed, but I still think Tella's great to go and having in his Threemus fight. He casts Berserk.
Oh yeah, second source of Berserk, second source of Cure 4, which is full healing, single targeted. Even if you're cursed, even if you're just, you know, old and in your dotage.
Look, his Cure 4 even has a chance to go and full heal the party if it's after a nerf Big Bang and he has a bunch of white magic boosting gear.
He does have that white shirt on currently.
But Bahamut does also have Rosa, who I imagine is going to look much better in that white robe.
Yeah, that's true. Although there is another strategy that I think Bahamut could put into effect here.
Oh?
Quint! I'm
sorry, I was confused. You said strategy, not meme.
I mean, heroin robe. Wait, no, he doesn't have the heroin robe. Leggy's the only one with the heroin robe. Or was there a second heroin robe? Leggy got a second Artemis bow.
Yes.
Evelyn Castle. Okay. Dang. Okay, playing out of Quint.
Yeah, I think that Artemis bow might be going to Sid.
Yeah.
I don't think...
There are the Sirens, and how many can we afford? All of them.
Not 70, but you can afford buying 15. That is... I don't think that's going to be enough for Bahamut.
Yeah, because not at 10 key items, it's not going to be a very fast grind. You're only going to be getting, what, 34,000 per egg. Rosa at least doesn't take too much to get to Cure 4, and we do have the white robe to kind of bump her stats up to make Threemus a little less threatening. Let's see, we got 2 silver apples. I think we saw a gold apple somewhere in some, well, not in Bahamut's inventory. So we got things, and he already had 2 other Sirens, so 17. Pretty nice grind. Again, if Leggy does not get distracted by that alluring D-Mist, gonna have the 10th key item, gonna be getting double XP. Well, as long as she turns in the pass first, which is one of those things that could very easily overlook your mind.
Yeah, that is something that is very easy to overlook, because I don't want to go to Troria. I need to go and unlike that pass for when I'm going to Threemus. But if it gives you a 10th key item and it cuts the prime time by 5 minutes, yeah, it's kind of worth it for that little detour to Troria.
Oh yeah, absolutely worth it in this, because literally cuts your grind in half. I like cutting grinds in half.
Especially means you can go and spend less money, and did we check what that Coal shop had?
I don't think we did.
That Coal shop can have some really nice stuff.
I wouldn't say no to some power shirts. I mean, we already have a white lance on Kane. We already have 2 cat claws on some Sids. I mean, some Yongs. Sid, we do have an Artemis bow for. More arty arrows would be nice, though.
You know.
Okay. Chat's confirming that we did peak. Zeus, Stardust, and other stuff. Oh, baby. I like a Zeus gauntlet. But Bahamut needed to save that cash for the Sirens, I believe.
I like that Stardust rod for Leggystarscream. She's got a Palom and 2 Roses.
I'm not sure you're grinding your Palom to level 52 here, though. Did you know that using a Siren to call a yellow dragon can sometimes drop a Siren?
I did not know that. That is something that bonus for Bahamut X.
Is this Super Mario RPG randomizer? Got a freebie! Oh, and I didn't even see. What did Leggy get for that reward?
White Spear. So.
Womp womp. Alright, so this is the moment of truth. If Leggy goes to Sylph Cave, good. If she... Okay, not so good. Dang.
You jinxed her, Inven, you jinxed her!
Well, D-Mist does give another bonus item, but we know it's not quite what we need. Now, one thing I've noticed over here, Bahamut X is not killing that Tella. Did he get a cursed ring anywhere along the way?
I don't know. Well, yeah, maybe he heard you now.
Never mind. I sent my consciousness 15 minutes back into the past. Okay, yeah. Wisely done there. Wisely done. If you don't have a cursed ring, be careful. Your Tella will gain agility. He's a spry old chap, and it's not good for your Z fight sometimes.
Does Bahamut still have his Artemis arrows is a question I'm wondering.
Perhaps.
Because that is something Sid would be able to help with, because we do know that the Artemis arrows were in the treasury.
Yeah.
So Sid can slap those on, because Sid, melee fighter who can use bows like Paladin Cecil. And Artemis arrows are really good against dragons. They do quadruple damage, and it would be very hard for it to not one-shot these eggs.
Leggy over here, meanwhile, chasing the white rabbit up a tower instead of down a hole. D-missed, of course. Bonus round. You get the key item for completing the top of the tower. You go talk to Rydia's mom in Feymarch. You get a bonus one. Very tempting if you're trying to hunt that pan down before you go into the Sylph Cave. But this time, this seed, checking your freebies was what it was all about this seed.
You know what's even worse about this, Inven?
What's that?
What places are left for darkness?
Here and... Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. This is...
Yeah.
This is... Leggy has missed 3 checks. The 2 check. The Sheila check in Sylph Cave, which on a narrow line gives the vanilla pan, which opens up 2 more checks that gives the adamant and the legend sword. I want to know the odds of that happening, because holy, that has got to be so abysmally low for that to happen.
Absolutely.
And then there's ordeals with the pink tail.
So, have you seen those videos of, like, someone sets up a whole bunch of dominoes and then their cat very gingerly walks through the entire hallway of dominoes, not knocking a single one over?
Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, that's Leggystarscream. Just so cautiously, so making these moves that would have been so good, fighting these bosses and getting key items that would have been fantastic, but just dodging so deftly all the things. Hey, RPG Limit Break! Welcome to more free Enterprise action. Hope the race went well over there. What you were looking at here, you want to sum it up, Baka?
We are looking at Bahamut X grinding to go and get to Zeromus, and Leggystarscream experiencing a terrible bit of luck, because Leggystarscream has skipped 2 spots so far. This is the last spot she has on Earth before she will find a Darkness Crystal, and the other 2 spots is Sheila 1, which has the pan, which goes to lead to the Adamant and the Legend Sword, and the other spot is Ordeals, which has the Pinktail, which is objective number 4.
Yeah. It was kind of funny, because Bahamut X got underground knowing he just needed to fight the Asura fight. That was an Elements fight, he didn't grind beforehand, and it knocked him out of the Feymarch. He's like, I'll come back later, let me check my freebies. Sheila 1, Pan. Sylphs, Adamant. Sheila 2, Legend Sword. Fight not required. Leggy committed early, saying, no Tella for me, no Cecil, no Ordeals, and just has managed to go down to every potential rabbit hole. Seed really being so strangely cruel tonight. But as long as she's willing to check freebies before she chases whatever the Demus, well, that Darkness Crystal and whatever the Demus gives, as long as she will check those freebies, she will be able to forge the crystal and have 10 key items, giving her a faster grind than Bahamut X has. So, if y'all want a neck-and-neck finish, fingers crossed for a freebie check here. Otherwise, we may be seeing how deep this rabbit hole goes.
Go left, Leggy. Go left. Yes, Leggy is going left. Leggy should hopefully go to Sheila 1, find the pan, come back, and get her Legend and Adamant Sword. Leggy is still in this.
Yeah, that's what we needed to see to have a race. Came in at just the right time. Bahamut, though, feeling frisky. Is he content with his levels? If so, we're going to see a butt fairly soon, but Leggy won't be far behind, getting 68,000 an egg instead of 34,000.
Indeed. And Bahamut is landing outside of Toria. His levels, he's got low 40s, so Rosa's a little dicey, but she's got a white robe, she's got a silent staff, I believe. She's going to go and have decent chances of surviving coal-powered Big Bangs. You've got a Kane.
I will note we don't have Bacchus wine, I believe. Did you see any there?
I don't think I saw any in the. I don't believe either of our runners have found any.
Yeah, so this is going to be kind of a marginal Zeromus fight. We don't have a ton of damage. Kane with that White Spear's our best damage output. Yang doesn't quite have the levels to really be dishing out huge amounts. We don't have Bacchus wine to let our physical fighters zerk themselves. Leggy's got a good chance. Well, we're seeing the D-Mist. Is it another rabbit hole?
It's a rat tail.
If that rat tail is a Baron key, things just got risky. Of course, this does take a little more of Leggy's time. It has the hook, but you got to swap airships to move the hovercraft. So we're gonna have to see like at least one Zeromus wipe here, maybe two for Leggy to have a chance, I think.
Yep, but Leggy's going to Fabul, so Leggy's still in this, and Bahamut is going to the Zeromus fight. And why do we have so many Z flags in chat?
Because the free enterprise community, we love our butts. They're just fantastic butts. They're the most kickable butts in town, and that means we're wondering, whose butt are we gonna kick tonight?
Do you have a favorite? Top 5?
I just wanted to be Kaibamus again so I can pick on Sala.
You know, I wouldn't go and disagree with that. He has definitely been going and showing up and challenging us to a duel, so I can't go and say I'd be disappointed by that.
How many times do we have to teach you this, kid?
Screw the rules. I have money. I can show up however much I want.
Oh! Baragon Wanchi Coxpa Bahamut. Ho 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 ho.
You say that so well and so intimidatingly. Please stop.
I've actually not seen this one before. Is this a relatively new one to the pack Scala? Or is this just one of those that has evaded my gaze over these last 2 years?
I can say that it's new to me. Uh-oh. Sid started punching, and I don't know if that's what Bahamut X wanted. And there's a Big Bang coming out, and I don't see anyone having been nuked. So this looks a little awkward for Bahamut.
Yeah. That's not good. For what it's worth, though, I was thinking that I would totally hire Sid and Yang to, like, move my furniture for me. You know, just two burly men. Only thing stronger than their muscles is the strength of their friendship.
This sounds like a Dragon Quest plot.
Anyway, Bahamut doing his best to recover here. Did not get that first Big Bang nerfed. And we know there's more incomings. Leggy, meanwhile, getting the curious news that there's an adamant here? Oh, goodness.
Adamant.
What have I been doing with my life?
What have I been missing? If Leggy comes back and takes this, I'm going to have to congratulate them because they had a lot of luck go against them. They checked everywhere on Earth except for the Rat Tail and Mount Ordeals.
Yeah, this has been the wild. This has been such a weird scene. Like, this is really showing, like, just how, because we thought Bahamut X had the edge with that pink tail, but then it turns out no. The real trick was to say, goodbye, Feymarch.
Yeah. To say, no, we're not doing Feymarch. We're going to go and do a little bit of hiking today. We're going to go and hike through a whole bunch of poison tiles, go to the Sylphs, go to Sheila, hike back to the Sylphs, get an Adamant, hike back to Sheila, and get her very, very nice brand new kitchen knife that she replaced.
And a much more manageable Big Bang that time. Rosa staying standing, not dishing out more than her 1900 HP.
Definitely good, and Leggy fighting Twin Harp Leggy. For all of us, please, don't check it. I know we want music, but there are other ways. Please, check Sheila.
Yeah, no music, not today. Not today.
There's other ways for music. The song we want to go and sing is the song of your comeback, just because it would be a grand and glorious comeback.
Yeah, but Bahamut is still doing just fine in this Zeromus fight. Had a little bit of a rough start. but has the Zerks going, has the team lifed up, has Sid on kind of like chemistry duty. As long as there's not like a really rude Big Bang Meteo combo, I think he's going to get away just fine here.
I think so, though.
Leggy, meanwhile, getting the real bad news. Check your freebies. Check your freebies. Friends, check your freebies.
Oh, yeah. So Bahamut is... I don't want to go and say Bahamut's damage is bad, but Bahamut's damage is really harsh. It is sub 2,000 on his 2 Zerkers. That is going to be a long grind of his Threemus fight. He's relying on Pella to go and throw extra berserks. Unless he has some ethers, Tella's going to run out of steam before this fight's over.
Yeah, 3,000 around isn't exactly the dream. And here comes another unnerfed Big Bang. Ooh. Takes Rosa down by 25 HP. The white mages are down. Let's see if the Sid, as the safety valve, gets the team back up. I really like the strategy. Keeping Sid unzerked, just hanging out with the huge stack of HP and the stack of life potions.
Yeah, I think... Ooh, oh. That's a wipe. That is a serious danger for Bahamut X. That virus is... It comes out every third Big Bang on the first phase. Like in the second phase, how every single Big Bang and nuke comes out. It's something you don't see very often because our runners usually go in with a very high amount of damage and can just simply skip past that and force phase changes before it comes up. But Bahamut's low damage is working against him, and he is leaving. He is going to go and do some more grinding. I don't disagree. Oh, he's going somewhere else. He's going to check his sand ruby, maybe take a new anchor, perhaps?
Maybe. But that Tella was doing a lot of good things for his team. Leggy, meanwhile, I appreciate the value of the Zeus Gauntlet, but if I have checked every single spot and discovered that the goods were just waiting free to be picked up, I'm not shopping. Get me out of here. I've got grinding to do.
Technically, Leggy doesn't know that the pink tail was also in play on Ordeals.
Yeah, but Leggy did do the Mylon and Friends fight at Leviathan. Leggy climbed the Tower of Lower Babel. Leggy did Dwarf Castle and the Warp Glitch. You still have to feel behind here, because if your opponent does the freebies, your opponent had that forge completed a long time ago.
Definitely not going to disagree. Leggy is going to be needing to play catch up a lot, and hopefully she remembers that her Artemis arrows will go and just back and go and one-shot these eggs.
Yeah. Well, Quackle also one-shot, of course. Leggy does have a Curse Ring, but Leggy doesn't have a cane to be swinging a Holy Lance here. So Leggy's also going to have pretty bad damage at the Zeromus fight. Luckily, though, 68,000 an egg is a lot better than 34,000 an egg.
Yeah, this is... I wonder how far Leggy's going to go, and Bahamut is going back in. I am curious how he's going to be approaching this Z fight. I didn't see what he picked up, so I am curious.
Yeah.
Bahamut didn't make any changes, so...
So another try, another chance, and the other question is, how much is Leggy going to grind here?
Yeah, that's... The low levels Zeromus fights are definitely an option, but is definitely a scary option because a lot of things can go wrong. Your Rosa having 1900 HP it's enough, but you have to keep her at it. And it doesn't seem like her Cure 4s when hitting the whole party were enough. So that's something, maybe it needs to be a strategy change where you go and make sure you do a Cure 4 with just 4 characters up, and then life up Tella afterwards. That is going to be a hard thing to do. And Palom is going down on Leggy's side, so Leggy is definitely very committed to not going for reflex strats, might be going for Tri-Zerker with a Rosa and Heroine robe.
I like that. We have a Heroine robe, we have an Artemis bow. She can self-zerk to not run out of arrows until a black hole. We do have Artemis arrows and I believe Charm arrows as well, so we even have like a mid-tier, well, not mid-tier, like third best arrow to flip to after we do have that black hole. And the other Rosa, with again the white robe setup, probably fine. Now, Bahamut X over here, I'm a little worried about. I saw Burst cast on that Kayn before the transformation. That's a possible way to get your Kayn locked up and not taking turns at all, which will make the start of this very risky. I do like to see the Silk Web coming out, though. Should make life a little easier on the subsequent turns. And we're going to get a nerf this time.
Yes, that Silk Web is coming out is going to go and definitely help Bahamut on the first. Kayn is taking it, and that could be really bad because, all right, only 1,200 on that nuke. Sometimes that nuke goes all the way up to 2,000, and that could put Kayn vulnerable to just getting wiped out quickly.
Yeah, but and good news, that first burst was undone by the Shake, which does a black hole effect, but did not freeze Kayn's ATB, which would have been really disastrous. So just a few MP wasted, otherwise not so scary.
Yep. Here's a question I have. How much strength enhancing gear have we found this siege?
We saw at least 2 ninja hats, that's +3. We've seen black belt geese, we've seen Zeus gauntlets, we've seen heroine robes and Artemis bows. A lot of it. But the strength kind of also likes you to have a few more levels to really get the multipliers going, especially on Yong's, because his base attack is just outright level based. But the Cure 3s will help. Still have to worry about a rude Big Bang followed up by a virus or by a Meteo. But I have no idea who's going to win this. Depends on Leggy's grind. Depends on how Bahamut manages this fight.
Yeah, that's... We still have a race. Leggy might be grinding now, but Leggy, I think, is going to go and have the stronger setup. Leggy, I think, is 47. Yeah, Leggy is higher level than Bahamut X already. Leggy...
Yeah, 2,100 HP Rosas versus 1,900.
Whenever Leggy goes into the Threemus fight, I have a strong feeling they are going to be coming out of it without issue. But I do want to point out something I find very amusing. Leggy is starting these grind fights shooting a Charm Arrow at the Dragon Egg, and it's charming it, which is making it not hatch. That is something I don't see very often, and I just want to point that out. That's really amusing to me.
Leggy feels she has enough levels, looks at the team, thinks, hey, we're good to go. That's enough Sirens. And we'll be headed into the Zeromus fight. I love seeing dueling Zeromus fights. Bahamut X a little ahead on this run at it. Ooh, Leggy leaving the Ninja Hat on Palom. That's +3 agility.
Yeah, not quite what you want. Thankfully, Palom is incredibly slow, so I think he struggles to... He's also been left dead for a while, so he's going he's level 40, so he's going to go and have close to base 20 agility or something.
And Zoe calling Leggy out in the chat. Yeah, you do get full healed before the Zeromus fight. You don't have to do the resting. The game will take care of it for you.
Game is not so mean as to go and let you go into a Zeromus fight with 1 HP on all your characters. Game is at least, look, in the vanilla game, we know we sent you through this whole gauntlet of boss-like monsters for 5 screens or something. We'll give you a free refill before you send you into Zeromus fight and get murdered by Big Bang.
Speaking of Big Bang, here comes another one from Jabamus. Ooh! It's mighty, but Rosa lives with 77 HP in a dream. Kayn gets knocked out, though, but this Cure 4 should max out everyone else on the team. Or close, well, never mind. Turns out when you have... Go ahead.
Sid King the low roll and is only at 2,300 HP, which should be enough to survive Big Bangs, but there's... Oh, that's rude. The virus comes out and takes out Yang again. Rosa queues up a Berserk on Yang, on Kayn, I believe, and it misses, so this is mean.
Yeah, but that Yang is still swinging. Honestly, the worry I'd have for Bahamut at this point is running out of MP on Rosa at this fight, because we're seeing viruses. We're still in the first major phase of the fight. You know you flip to the next half and you've gotten the refill once you see nukes coming out instead of viruses. And Leggy is entering the fight, going to be throwing her crystal as well soon. And yeah.
Leggy also has a team that is... Leggy's team, I think, is going to go and pull a lot more damage and a lot more DPS, and is going to see a lot fewer Big Bangs if things don't go sideways for Leggy.
Yep.
And Leggy has 2 roses instead of 2 a Rosa and a Tella, so both of our runners have 2 sources of Berserk. One of them have 2 sources of Berserk who will go and survive Big Bangs.
Well, the thing is that some of those high roll big bangs can go all the way up to 2,700, so Leggy's not safe even with the 2,200-ish roses. They can
True.
also take a tumble once Zeromus breaks out those 9-hit big bangs.
True. But Leggy's...
Ooh, 3,000 from Yang already. That's more than double of what Bahamut X's Yang is doing.
That is more damage than Bahamut X is getting per round right now, so that's
huge.
That is a big advantage for, yeah. There's 2,300 from Sid with a Ogre Axe. You can go and take this Rosa in here and have her go and throw out Berserk. She's got Artemis Arrow, Artemis Bow. We're throwing the Silk Web instead, which is definitely a fine idea because you want to get that first nerf off.
Thank you, Randomania 2, for the raid. You are at a thrilling conclusion to a wild race here between Bahamut X and Leggystarscream. Leggystarscream managed to avoid all the easy routes to get Go Mode. Bahamut X got it quite a bit earlier, but Leggy had the 10 key items that gave a much faster grind, and Bahamut took a wipe to Jabamus here. So Leggy's got the levels, Bahamut's already been in the fight a little bit longer. It's coming down to this to see who will get their first win here in Highway to the Threemus Zone.
Bahamut X is pulling out an Ether 2 on Rosa to go and help keep her going. Definitely agree this is going to be necessary for Bahamut X. This is going to be tight. Bahamut X has started sooner but is doing less damage. Leggy is doing more damage and has what I feel the safer party.
One thing I don't like, though, Leggy just berserked her Zerker Rosa with the other Rosa, which means she's only going to get 5 shots of Artemis before the arrows run out. That will result in that Rosa re-entering the queue, I think. I mean, it was her turn already. I mean, a black hole does it anyway, but I'm always leery when you don't want to see your Rosa trying to punch Zeromus to death. It's funny when it happens, but in a race setting, you get worried.
Oh, and Bahamut getting a nasty big bang, takes out Tella and Rosa, takes his king down to 2 hit points, so then he gets the long and costly HP ran out. Into Medio.
Oh, and Sid and Yang don't have good...
Oh.
That is very costly, and we're going to see the advantage of grinding here, because, again, Leggy looks to be firmly in control now, has overtaken Bahamut this race. There's something to be said for that extra bit of caution. You may think, I don't have time to burn these other eggs, I don't have time to finish up my grind, I gotta go to Zeromus. But what happens when your opponent has, that 80% chance of success in the fight, and you have, maybe a 55-60% chance of success, and you just get highly unlucky?
Oh yeah, that's
It's metagaming at its finest. You have to know your opponent's inclinations, how they like to do their Zeromus fights. Are they comfortable with what you saw this seed?
Yeah, there is definitely a lot of pressure because we never had to go to the moon this seed at all, which means that any experience you're getting solely for the Zeromus fight. You don't need to go and be powerful enough to deal with moon bosses. You don't get that juicy experience from those moon bosses that can say, yeah, we're going to go and start at level 40, but we'll end at like level 48, so go say hi to Zeromus and just stomp him into the ground for a bit. You are in the awkward position of, when do I stop grinding? And each wipe that you don't see a dot done hurts because you can see, I could have spent some more time grinding, I could have pushed my chance of success up higher. And then there's always the awful feeling of you're grinding, and then you start using Zeromus fight and see that dot done come in, and you knew that you went too late. It is an awful, awful choice on these flags.
Here comes a big bang on Leggy's side. Let's see how the Roses stand up to it. Only about 1,600 apiece, fairly reasonable.
Yep, that Heroin Road has the disadvantage of going and taking away 30 willpower, which is 1 magic evade multiplier, but it does go and give 15 agility, which is half of another multiplier, so almost balances out.
Yeah, and the base stats of it actually have decent magic evade, but there's rocks falling. I think Leggy has clinched victory here. Just a few more hits coming from, like, we were so worried. Fading ordeals, committing to other key item check after key item check, but 10 key items, it does it for you. It does it. And also there's something about a heroin robe doing 3,000 damage a shot that I'm partial to myself.
Yeah, having Leggystarscream does come in first place. That is, if you told me that earlier in this race, I would have thought, what miracle happened? Because that was a real comeback for Leggy. She missed the pigtail on ordeals. Bahamut found the pan into the Legend Sword and Adamant before her. But Leggy was able to go. Leggy had extra key items, was able to get her grind through faster, and had a just nicer Berserker team set up, and was able to go and really come back on this. But GG's to Leggy. Let's see if she is up for an interview.
I can see her waiting in the wings. I'm not sure if our restreamer can move her, but I can handle that for us. Oh, there we go. Leggy, GG's!
Hello, thank you.
So first, the most important question, heroin robe, great armor or greatest armor?
I mean, 10 out of 10 would heroin robe up a Rosa again.
Yeah, you were the only one who dived that deep into Watery Pass and got it, and it was very spicy. But I made the comment earlier, have you seen the videos of cats like walking through a hallway of dominoes, very carefully not knocking a single one over?
Yes.
That was you evading everything that had a required objective key item.
I'm aware.
So what went through your mind when you did finally check your freebie and found both halves of the X-Scout there?
Honestly, it was just like, oh, thank God I don't have to go to the moon.
Did you, and I know that you, of course, finished 15 minutes ago, we have delay going on. Did you look at the spoiler log? Did you deduce where that pink tail was hiding as well?
Yeah, so I heard where that pigtail was hiding. I flew past there several times thinking about, I should really go up the mountain. I should really go up the mountain. Nah, it's just one check. It's 3 bosses. It'll take forever.
And in all fairness, there's no foos in the seed, not at all in the tournament. You had opted out of both Cecil and Tella, and after you went underground, you saw where the D-Mist was while walking down. What could ordeals possibly have had to offer you, right?
Exactly, and if the freebies hadn't paid out, I definitely would have gone down the moon rabbit hole before going there.
Just to commit to the play?
Yeah, at that point. Honestly, I committed to it when I gave up the characters in Zot.
That is definitely a very understandable thing, because it's 3 bosses, it takes some time. Very easy to go and say, it's just one check, how bad could it be? And then the seed decides to... The true rudeness, I feel, is not just that it's the pink tail. It's that it's the pink tail on a hook seed.
Right.
So you still came back magnificently from that. Your grind definitely went very well for you, all things considered. How were you feeling about your team when you went and saw your go mode?
Honestly, when I took that team through the hook route with no issues, I'm like, okay, I can work with these nerds. And so I knew what I wanted out of my grind. I wanted to get the roses just around the 2200 HP mark, which just happened to coincide with white, so that was a useful stopping point.
Yeah, that is definitely a good stopping point, and your team seemed pretty well set up for Threemus with those 2 roses. How were you planning to go on with, one Zerker, one White Mage Rosa? Were you thinking of maybe doing Reflect strats at some point, or were you just always on? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So I had Reflect strats in the back of my head because I did have that Paladin with me, and so there was definitely some time in my head where I was going to throw that cursed ring on Sid instead and go for like some hybrid strats. When I found the heroine robe and then the Artemis bow and obviously have the two roses, I'm like, okay, one of you is a white mage, one of you is an archer, and we're just going to go with that.
That definitely ended up working out very well for you. That was a very clean, efficient Zeromus fight. Did you even get a black hole on that?
I did not.
That is my favorite kind of Zeromus fight. The ones where you do so much damage, Zeromus gets to say, Big Bang? Yes? No? No? No?
Yeah, I got him down after the second black hole.
That makes about sense. Yeah, that makes sense because I saw saw Big Bang, then he went pretty quickly into Medio, and then you were done because you were pushing out a lot of good damage there.
Yeah, when Zeus gauntlets are for sale, that definitely helps a bit too.
Very true. Well, Invenerable, do you have any final questions?
No, just very well played. We were so worried. Like when we saw that pink tail up on Ordeals, we thought, ugh, well, this race, let's just buckle up and hang in there to the end. And then the seat's like, oh, sorry, did you think you were going to have to go to the moon for the Forge objective? I think not. And it all clicked into place, and it became one of the most exciting matches I've seen all tournament. So I'm very glad you didn't get bitten, just because it made for a very exciting Friday night. You and Bahamut are both amazing racers, and I'm excited to see how you two do with the rest of your group matches coming forward.
Aw, shucks, thank you. I'm just glad I could put on a good show.
This was an amazing race to commentate. Thank you very much for running.
And
oh, go ahead. Last word to you, Leggy. Go for it.
Yeah. And thank you to everyone who's been both putting on the tournament and specifically the broadcast crew for this race in particular.
Awesome. Well, good luck on your next match. We'll be looking out for it in the next couple of weeks. Meanwhile, Bahamut here is on the third attempt at Jabamus, and looks to be going a lot more smoothly this time. Party's been at it for a bit, and those are rocks falling, so I think we're going to be fine this time. We have Rosa alive, we have Zerker swinging, she dodges the Medio, so another Cure 4 is guaranteed if necessary.
Her two main Zerkers are also over. Oh, that Cure 4 isn't guaranteed because Rosa's out of MP, but both Zerkers are over 1,000 HP. They'll be able to take another Medio. And there's the crumble. Jabamus is finally defeated by Bahamut X. GG's to Bahamut X. This was a harrowing race for him. An official time of 1 hour, 44 minutes, and 52 seconds. Let's see if we were able to get him in for an interview.
I do believe, Bahamut X is going to be going and getting us the Twin Harp music from Bedward in Troya, since we didn't get to have it live during the race. So many key items found, but the Twin Harp just a little too late for us to get music in the race.
Yes, that when it came up for Leggy, I was a little worried for her, just because
we didn't want to see that yet another rabbit hole. So many rabbit holes dive down that seed. But those same rabbit holes gave the 10th key item, and the 10th key item made a huge difference. Bahamut did get into the Zeromus fight a lot earlier, but Leggy's team had those extra levels to be able to pull it off on the first run at it.
Yes, that is definitely a big bonus to have. That's something that 10 key items can make you feel real good about taking a few extra fights, because you know you're going to keep getting good value from them. You're not going to go and hit that drop off where, yeah, I'm doing fights, I'm getting a little bit stronger, I'm getting a level on one or two of my characters each time. I need one more level. Do I need one more level on these characters? Can I go with what I have? Sometimes that pushes you forward to do a Zeromus fight and squeak one out, and sometimes it pushes you into doing a Zeromus fight where you can get through, but it does go and have a high chance of going sideways for you by either a mean Big Bang into Medio setup, lots of things.
Good evening.
Oh, and hey, and we are joined by Muhammad X. Muhammad X, GG's.
Thank you. I want to say this is why I don't like to go into Zeroma's low level.
Yeah, like your routing that seed paid off so amazingly. You did ordeals, which Leggy faded, and you were heading underground, ready for go mode. You knew what you needed to do. Sure enough, that Elements fight was a little rude at the start, and you went to check your freebies, and holy cow, were they some freebies! What did you think when you actually did the Sheila checks with the pan and you got both halves of the X-Cal? What went through your head right at that moment?
I actually thought like, oh man, I'm behind because Elements isn't that bad if you do the reflect strats, and I think I would have had it because I couldn't keep Tell up long enough, but I think I could have defeated Elements, and so I'm like, okay, maybe behind, okay, but I got this. All right, I just need to grind now. So at least I was like, I can grind now. So that was in my mind at least.
Yeah, and your Zeroma's fight looked so smooth the first time. Didn't have the highest of damage rolls, but your team was hanging in there. You were recovering each time after the Big Bang. That Sid as your chemist was very, very good. But just a few high rolls just bit you. You were in that Zeroma's fight so much earlier, but a high roll here and there, and can the best laid plans of mice and men, right?
Oh yeah, and especially that Big Bang into the rocks. I got to find out how to avoid that because I think if you time it a certain way, you can prevent that from happening. I know that's a key thing you need to do if you want to go on lower levels. Because like, all right, I got enough to survive Big Bangs at least with Sid and the two fighters. That should be enough if I time things well and I get decent rolls.
Oh, and we are getting the Twin Harp theme. I'm gonna mute for just 1 second. Check what tunes we got.
We are getting the nice Shadows theme from Final Fantasy VI.
Thank you for going back and picking that up for us after the race. Everyone loves the Twin Harp.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so a question for you. How did you feel when you saw the Cecil and the Tella early?
Well, Tella, I think immediately, okay, if I can get Darkness Crystal, that's my D machine right there. And so once I get a Tella, especially since if you drop a character, you can't get him back. So I'm like, all right, I gotta have a good reason to drop Tella. And I didn't, so I held on to him. And then, I like to keep Cecil if I get a good sword, but the way the seed was looking early on, like, okay, I don't think I'm gonna get a good sword. I'm gonna go Gombo relatively quickly. I'll jump in for something else. And I ended up changing him for, I forget who it was. Maybe it was Yang at that time, but then once I did get the Excalibur, I'm like, dang it, maybe I could have kept Cecil, but that was so much far down the road, I couldn't have predicted that.
Yeah, for being T Wilders, there was a surprising dearth of honestly good weapons for a lot of your characters. There was that Artemis Bow and Artemis Arrow and the Toria Treasury, but beyond that, we didn't see. We did see a Weight Spear for Kane as well, which was also quite handy, but no Avengers.
Yeah, it was kind of weak on the treasures.
Yeah, that was a lot to be desired for your melee fighters.
Yeah.
Well, in general, do you have any further questions?
Yeah. When is your next match scheduled? Do you have it on the agenda yet?
I do. My next race will be against Jenica Strife, and that will be 7 p.m. Central on Tuesday. So that is my next one.
Gotcha. And because I did forget to ask her, I'm going to go to the schedule right quick and see if Leggy's is listed as well, just so everyone following the two of you and your group
thanks for
wants
asking.
to see it. Scrolling. Okay, Leggy does not have another one on the agenda yet. But yeah, so you and Jenica Tuesday. Of course, multi-stream, Khadgar, potentially a restream on here, the Randomania Network, Free Enterprise, or Limit Break. We'll see. But ought to be a good match.
I'm
Bahamut,
looking forward to it.
Yeah, do you have any final thoughts to close this out tonight?
Actually, I do want to say my next match, Jenica, I actually faced off against her in a smaller tournament called Sushi League, and I beat her in that race, so this will be a rematch.
Oh, good. So she's coming back for some vengeance, for some blood.
Yes.
Gonna be a spicy match accordingly.
Oh yeah,
Grudge-
I'm gonna have to try my best.
Grudge matches on Tuesday. Best day for them.
Well, thanks for having me.
Tuesdays are made for grudges. Yeah. Sorry, Vomit. Go ahead, dude.
Oh, no worries. I just say thanks for restreaming our race, and it's a good time, and I'm looking forward to my next one.
Yeah, as of note, this was our restreamer Neobari's first time behind the restream controls. Did a great job. Props to them. And I think when we close out here, we're going to be headed over to Free Enterprise. More Zima Zone. We have Moonblaze Wolf versus Conkers. Each of them already having a win under their belt, seeing who can go to 2-0. Everyone wants to hit 3-0, go straight to the table without having to go through the hook or the magma route. So ought to be another good match coming in hot very soon.
That is definitely something to be excited for, and it's always an exciting time to go and see more Free Enterprise. So let's go and say hello and give them all of our love.